couple of weeks ago, I was playing around with the little air hogs airplane out in the front yard, and I started to think that it would be nice to have some kind of simple mechanical and or electrical device for doing differential steering on a larger plane. And I started thinking about it one night, and I came up with an idea, and actually worked out pretty good, so I want to share that with you. The ESC plugs into the device. Luckily, when you plug it in to an ESC and it sees the power, it automatically starts off in the ESC motor testing mode. I cut off the little end piece. That little pot has a keyed knob. Then I just took a control arm and epoxied it on. The way it is right now, it is in the actual off position from that angle right there. And that's full throttle right about there. I'm giving the receiver power with a UBEC. Instead of using the power out of your ESC, it's like a separate power supply. This is actually a better power supply. It's going to be more constant voltage, and it'll handle more servos. The throttle output from my receiver goes to this servo back here. This servo is stationary. It's mounted to these two sticks, which are actually like a track. You can see how it's attached right to them. This servo here can slide in this track, and the throttle servo pulls this one back and forth. As you turn your throttle up, it pulls this forward, which turns both of these at the same time, and that increases the output to the motors. The linkage on this is really sloppy. You can see it's very loose. This was really just a test to see if this thing would even work. I have the two motors hooked up to this little fulcrum here, and that's just so you can get an idea which one is actually increased. This device is also capable of doing ZTT, which is zero throttle turns. One turns all the way off and the other stays on. Turning with a differential device like this is actually a very efficient way of turning. It actually requires very little bit of change between the two. A couple of other cool things about this setup is that you can wire your channel 3, your throttle output, to go to not only to this servo, which gives you your throttle for your two motors, your differential throttle control. You could wire that output out of the receiver, and you can have a third motor in the center wired off of that output that just goes straight to an electronic speed controller for like a center motor. All three would work off the throttle stick, but these two would have the option of the differential steering. You can also still use the rudder like you normally would. The rudder output of this, which would be good for takeoffs or some maneuvers.